and I'm just using these tools. You guys know anything about data centers? How important is a data center?
Well, in the old days, they were pretty vital, and the big data centers now that are holding all people's data are amazingly important.
Okay, so it's like water to a fish, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how important do you think generators are to a data center?
The power is huge, and redundancy is huge.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm doing this. I was invited to do this project, and it's a data center, some company you've never heard of, and they're like huge, right? Because they do data centers, and I think these things just puke money for whoever builds them, because they're pretty expensive.
Amazon had some good earnings, so yeah.
Yeah, now I know where they're building them. So yeah, so I'm doing this project, and I've got to rip this building apart, and they're putting all these generators in, and then I got to put this exterior back together. And I'm cool, and I've got my stuff together. I go out there in February in the snow, and I don't usually go to job sites. Just, it's not really what I do. But this is data centers, right? How important?
Important.
Okay, so I show up, because I'm going to do this. And so I'm in the snow and all this stuff, and I'm literally in the snow. It was a bad winter. I'm in the snow, and I'm just figuring this thing out, and I bring because I don't know what I'm doing, so I bring a mechanic, a foreman. And the client, he's like, you brought a foreman? I go, yeah, I brought a foreman. He's like, wow. He's like, no one ever brings a foreman. I'm like, really? I'm like, I just don't know what I'm doing. He knows, this guy's going to build it. Like, why not bring him? And he's like, so immediately they're like, I love you. This is so cool. We're like figuring this thing out. And I'm rocking, like, because when April, May comes, who's got it together? Right here, right? And so, there was a big call in April. All the generator guys, they're doing all, like, I do the easy thing. These guys have all the technology, all the generators, all the whatever, air, mechanical, electricity. Like, I just do the materials. I keep the water out of the building. That's what I do. And so I'm on this meeting, cruising. Everyone shows up to the meeting. I'm gonna go to meetings, because I just don't do that. But I'm rocking. I'm like, man, I am solid. I got this thing. 2 weeks before I gotta close this thing up, I get a phone call from my vendor. He's like, hey man, yeah, actually I get an email. It was the end of the day, I get an email. It says, hey John, just real quick. Yeah, they're missing some pieces. It's gonna take like 6 weeks to get this thing. I'm thinking, it's Friday night, it's like 5:30. I'm just getting ready to like get into my weekend. I'm like, oh. I can't even call anyone, it's 5:30. I'm pissed. I can't even call anybody. I'm like, I was like, hey, what's going on? So I say everything's perfect, right? Because everything's perfect. I'm going with this mantra. Everything's not perfect, by the way, right? So I'm going with this mantra, and I get the kids to sleep, and I craft a little email, and I just said, I said, thank you for sharing that information. I imagine you have some relationships with this vendor. We're getting this. It was a louver, it's custom louver. There's 25 of them. I'd appreciate if you could just, leverage your relationship a little bit and just see what you can do. So that was cool. And then I knew a guy at the manufacturer that's actually fabricating them, and I just sent him an email. I just said, hey man, how you doing? I said, here's the scoop. I know things, like I get it. I know things happen. It's okay. I said, but I think together, I think together we're better. And I'd just like to make the mark for these guys. It's just a good client of mine. I would just like to make the mark. Let me know what you can do. That was it. And so Monday morning, I get this call from a guy in Alabama. Hey, John, how you doing? I'm like, this is George. I go, hey, George, how you doing? Yeah, I got the email from John, passed on. He's like, I talked to my team. We're working on it. I was like, George, thank you so much. Like, I really like you, George. You're like a good guy. And so like I'm doing my thing. Like, all right, I talked to George, so this is good. So now I got to call my client and have you think it's gonna be a nice conversation, or you think it could be kind of awkward? But who gets to choose? Yeah. Do I have a choice? Does this have to be awkward? No. It doesn't have to be awkward, right? It's not optimal. Like data centers, right? He wants me to deliver, right? I'm in. I'm like invested in this thing. So I called my guy, Dan, real nice guy. I said, Dan, So got an email Friday night, stuff's not coming. It's going to take another like 6 weeks. I said, we're not going to make the date. I said, just forget it. It's not happening. I said, listen, just let me know the factors I need to address, and I'll address them. I said, I'll build you a new building if I have to. So whatever you got to do, I'll build you a temporary wall. You just let me know, and I'll do it. So, you know, on one of our calls, we talked about one particular thing. You know, like, where was I operating out of with this? I think a couple things, but anyone, can you tell me where I'm at?
The line, responsibility.
Okay, right.
No blame. You weren't trying to justify.
No justification. Who had control?
You were owning it.
Yeah, who owned it, right? Totally owned it. So it was cool, and that was the conversation. But this thing kept eating at me. And I'm pretty good. Like, I'm pretty good at what I do. Really am. And not to be like arrogant, I'm pretty good. Like, data centers are pretty tough customers. I'm pretty good. So it's beating me up. I'm thinking, if everything's perfect, what am I not seeing? There's got to be something here, right? There's got to be something here. I'm just telling myself this, and I don't know what it is. So I go out and I pull the order. I say, all right, let's take a look at this thing. I'm like, inside dimension, outside dimension? That's not right, because I got to dimension these materials. So 25 units were off by 3/4 of an inch on all sides. So that adds up to like 3 feet, if you do the math, to 26 3/4 or something, but not to get technical. So I'm like, holy cow. Like 200 grand of material, if it came on time, would not fit. That's in my business, like, that's like a bad day. That's not cool. It's not like you lost 200,000. You did. There's 200,000 that's going to sit in the shop or get scrapped. But I got to write a check for another 200,000. And then I got like double whammy. And then I got the weeks. And then now I'm building the guy a building. So now I got what? Like JR, right? Now I'm building the guy a building. Until the stuff comes. So now I'm like so grateful. I'm like, thank God this happened. Like, this is nice. You know, and but that was the key. Like, I think that for me, that was the key to this thing, was the mistakes aren't mistakes. You know, if you're looking for it. Because if I didn't really dig down deep, it just would have been just a really bad scenario that just got worse, you know, and I would have had to do some real heavy digging on Everything Speaks to pull that one off. But let's talk, look at the trust. Like, how much trust did I build with my guy, right? My client. These guys love me now, you know, and it actually worked out pretty well, because data centers are goofy and there's all kinds of things that go on, and it was kind of a good deal that we didn't have the product in time, because they were using it to get back inside the building. So everything worked out, but the bottom line is that I didn't lose $200,000 or $400,000 ultimately, but I learned a really important lesson. Just got grounded really hard. Is just that, you know, mistakes aren't mistakes. They don't have to be. They can be opportunities. You know, like, what is the universe telling me? Like, I really thought, like, that was the universe talking to me. Well, hey man, you need to figure this out, because like I said, that's a bad day. So that, you know, so I think I'd like to really, put that. The biggest thing is, one of the biggest pieces for me with this course is low need. You know, I had another job. So real estate investing, they changed the model now for like HUD housing. So instead of like municipalities buying these buildings and doing this stuff, they'll say like Eric, that old building, why don't you go fix it up, do your deal, and then we'll give you the guaranteed leases. It's a good deal for the guys that are investing. One thing they like to do is they like to make the outside of the buildings pretty fancy, because they're putting these things in metro areas, near Targets and near Safeways. And so it's kind of cool. But once again, I'm getting back into this real fancy kind of material. So I'm doing another project, real complicated. The guy's making some fins and just really goofball thing. Like, I do goofball stuff. I really do. People are like, you do this? I go, nah, I do that, but it's really goofy. Like, I put a roof on, but it's going to have like this huge swale to it or something, and just no one's going to know how to do it, and I'll rack my brain and we'll get it. So there's this really goofball, like, really the wall comes out, this panel comes out, and comes down and comes back, and I'm like, what is that? Ugh. So I had 3 phone calls with this manufacturer. They're like, this is our panel, man. We're the only ones in the country that can do this. This is our stuff. We got this. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like, we love you. I'm like, I love you. We all love each other, right? So we're all good. And they give me the price, and I'm like, woo, man, that's a smoking price for you. Not for our client, but this is what they want. It's really expensive. So just, my context was way out, because the price was just like astronomical, you know. And so I called them 3 times, said, we got this, this is good, da, da, da. Okay, so I'm doing this job. I send the order in, and like, they send it back to me with the final PO, and it's like 50 grand more. Hello? Remember those 3 phone calls? Like, we got this? They're like, well, yeah, but such just, yeah, that's our thing, and you had to do this and do that. And I'm like, well, I just, that wasn't communicated through that. And so I could have went into blame, right? Could I go into blame? Easily, right? So I said, all right, what are my choices here? Can I go into blame? Nah, I don't want to go into blame. So I thanked him. I said, listen, I'm in the hole now, 50 G's. That's like off the top. It's not like fluff money. It's like 50 G's is off the, it's like 20% of the job or whatever we're doing. It's like you can't hide it. It's not gonna be like, oh yeah, it was a great job.
Sweep it under.
Yeah, it's not like 50 G, like people miss 50 grand. I don't care how rich you are, you're gonna miss 50 grand if you think you have it. It's just been my experience. So I'm like, what's going on? So I take responsibility for this thing. And so I thanked him. I said, listen, just do what you can. Just help me out. So we got all into like the unit price. I'm like, these, so whatever, the technical stuff. They trimmed some money up. And so I'm like, I own this, man. Whatever. If there's 50 grand, it's my fault. So anyway, but I owned up. I started doing this project, and all these amazing things started happening. General contractors like, these are high-rise buildings. Guys like, I got the crane, man. You're good. I'm like, cool. It's like 10 grand plus. Guys, I've been doing some of these other panels. Architects like, we don't like that flat seam panel. So in my business, flat seam means like old time, New England, soldering, lock-in, that like old, like very laborious, expensive. It's like, I want this other thing. I'm like, would you mind if I showed you a sample? He goes, so he's like, he takes this super speedo panel, and the mason's like, I got this wicked scaffolding, you can have at it. So 10 G's, now turned into 105 G's. So now my 50K is like, how big of a deal is that now? Now I'm plus 55,000. But but what did I do? What did I do in this process?
You're open to discussion. Move forward.
Yeah, I moved forward, but I followed the ground rules, and I was low need. I just followed the ground rules, and like, did I get predictable results? More than that, right? So, is that being a convergent leader? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm using these tools, and I think I'm getting the results that I'm setting out to get with it.
And how do you feel about yourself?
I feel great. Yeah. I feel like I'm operating from a great space. Yeah, my integrity's in check. If I got to write a check, I got to write a check. And I was at a meeting with one of my clients. They have this little party. I go to it every year. And it's a really great time to connect with people. And one of their mantras is integrity. And I said, let's talk about that a little bit. I said, because integrity for me in contracting has always been writing a big check. And they've done studies. When people part with money, they feel physical pain. And so, JR, right? Is contracting not an feel physical pain on a daily basis?
Jaws dropping like.
Yeah. And so in my business, integrity a lot means writing the big check. And a lot of companies don't want to do that. They go to control with the lawyer language and the 30-page thing and you owned it and sorry for your bad luck, you know, that whole deal. And I'm just moving away from that. You know, the ground rules moves you away. It moves you away from that. It does. So that's been my experience with these tools, you know, in my daily life.
Cool.
Cool.
Very nice.
Thanks.